Hello and welcome to part 2 of Breaking the Grid with me, BonBonB. I'm BonBonB, you're very welcome. Now, if you watched part 1, you will already know that this isn't strictly a let's play. This isn't actually building a city. This is working out what the network would look like for a city that has evolved over, say, 1,000 years in suggesting Europe, and seeing how a city would evolve in terms of non-grid system on that kind of environment. The map we're using is a take on Mos Obo by Anipu Merinejuru, but it has been edited here and there to make it a little bit more old world than new world. Now, what we managed to do last time was we built this base for our very first village. We have a village actually in the, we have a bit of a valley going on here, sheltered from the sea over there. We have access to the sea really easy, so if we have ourselves a jetty down here to tie up our boats, they'd be pretty secure. It's as good as a harbour location as you're going to find up this area. We are also right by the running water. If we hover the camera still down here, you'll see that there is motion in this ocean, and it is actually, it's fresh water. It's fresh water becoming salt water around about this little estuary area here. So yeah, our inhabitants of our new village have access to fresh water. They have access to potential food, because I imagine there's a lot of hunting ground going on with all the all the forests around. This little cleared area up here would have been a perfect expansion for the second part of the village area. It's a separate village because there is no direct quick route down, so these people would have their own things going on and probably would have a little church. There's a hill here, there might be a little church area up here as well. So anyways, so that is that's the first 2 mini villages over here. We also found our route around this big old hill, because we got a big old hill here. Yes, we could have a way over the hill, but horse and cart is going to prefer a relatively flatter route, and the flattish route that we found, and this isn't strictly the most accurate route, but we're getting down, we're kind of trying to find the most logical route through all of these areas, was a little pass through here and then a looping back around the hill, getting down quite close to the coast at this location here, the shoreline rather than the coast, sorry. And this led us over to this area here. Now, this is quite a well cleared area, so this would definitely work in terms of farming, as it's already clear and it looks like it's got access to a lot of water as well. But the main area for here, for me, is this little cove here, which works for me really. I'll start the simulation up. You can see here, works really well for a shipping harbour, or an early fishing harbour, not a shipping harbour, because although if you have a look over here, it looks relatively shallow, there is a route out into the big wide ocean over through that way. So there is a route out, but also there would be fish in here. There would definitely be fish in here, and this would be a really good location for a few fishing boats and our little fishing village. So this is the area we're going to focus on today, and then remembering we have access to fresh water via this lake up here, and this river over here, the one that's been a little bit edited by me. It looks a bit clunky. That's because it's not really supposed to look like this at all, but I had to do a quick fix on it, and this is what we have. We have a potential for a village running along the side of the river here as well. But back to our separate our second village area, our fishing village. Now, ignoring this dirt path, because this dirt path is what's connecting us up, it's more a question of where is the logical place here. Where would I be tying up my boat? Now, looking at the steepness of the riverbanks here, not a really easy place to initially pull up my boat. But here maybe is. So I'm thinking that the actual oldest part of this area would be here. So let's put down our first little, again, these are intended to be everything from footpaths up to dirt dirt roads, these ones. It covers all all sins. Alright, so and what we would have here definitely would be our... In fact, what I'm going to do is... I know we have jetties available, but let's do ourselves just a little... bit too steep there. Why are you not... Okay, so we're playing silly beggars. Right, ignore that. We'll just drop that down a little bit. Right, there you go. That signifies our jetty. I'm happy with that. That'll do. Then we'd have all the little harbour, not a harbour, but first settlement houses. I know what I'm trying to say. The words will come out eventually. They would be dotted along here. In fact, again, just for the sake of anybody first coming to this as a first view and want to know what the hell I'm talking about, let's find ourselves a few of those little one by one buildings. There we go. That'll do. I'll just pop a couple down here. One there, maybe. A couple there. Right. So that would be the initial little village. That would be all there would be when they first settled. There wouldn't even have been this little harbour. They'd just be putting the boats up here. But in time, this jetty would have appeared. Now, where would they go from here? Now, if I wanted to get out from the natural harbour, what would be I think the natural path would be that around here and up that way, because this is still quite steep. There are some trees in the way there. It's steep enough to actually cause a little bit of cliffage behind the houses there. So yes, what we'll do is we're going to build this road or this dirt track up this way, and again, which route would be? I'm thinking it would bend around that way. Again, it's the natural walking path at this early point. Let's go back to the dirt track. So back down to ground level. Thank you. So that would come around like this, and then that would come around to there. So it'd be that sort of shape. Again, accuracy, not that worried about it. It's just good enough for us to be able to see how this would work. And now we have access to the entire area up here. Now, where would we be building next? We probably have there'd be a few houses dotted around here, but I'm thinking there would definitely be a dirt track across here, and there'll be houses along this. There'd be definitely houses along this stretch without question in my mind. And maybe again, it looks quite steep there, so we probably wouldn't be building anything down this hill here. And I'm reckoning that's where that would end because of the natural trees and stuff. I mean, they would chop down the trees for building the houses, but they would probably be still a few dotted around here and there. As we come up this way, there would definitely be room to expand out. I'm trying to think where the next logical place would be. I'm thinking there would be definitely a branch out up this way into, well, eventually there would be a road through here. I don't know if it would be quite this early in the city or in the village build, but yeah, I think that probably would be about it. Let's grab a few. In fact, we'll just plop a few, so there'd be maybe a couple there like that, and then there'll be a couple maybe up here, little run of houses there. And then if we have the village expanding out this way, remember this is all just symbolic, and it would just be roughly how the layout of the networks would be. I don't mind the gaps between the houses because, well, if you were building houses along here and there was all this space to build into, you wouldn't necessarily build right next to your neighbour, would you? You wouldn't. Pretty sure of that. And so, yeah, something like that. Now, at this point, I'm thinking, right, so this is a good little fishing village, but there would be farming as well. This area up here is already cleared. Plus, we have fresh water there. So for me, this little zone here is going to be farming. Now, old style farmings, we're not talking about massive fields, we're talking small fields. what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up, and there'll be more small holdings than actual big farms. So what we'd have is a little parsnip field off in one direction, and so there'll be a field. I'll probably do a little bit of field painting in a minute. Again, this is not intended to be an accurate representation. This is just to set us up for when our modern city starts to evolve, having a little bit of historical context to oh, come on, please, thank you. And I'm going to do a little bit of a dirt track into that area over there. So I think this would be, there'll be a little bit of farming land going on over here as well, maybe down that way. So yes, what we'll do, I think we'll, again, just for those of you that do need to have the vision of, let's put some hedges or bushes. How about bushes? B-U-S-H. Oh, search. Ah, there you go. Search is at the bottom, isn't it? Small wild bushes, rosalia bushes, bushy one. That's the one. Actually, might even be better if I just did it this way. There, that's much better. Right, we'll go with that. So yes, what we would then have is just little farm areas. So we'll have a little farm over to make the there we go. I mean, it probably would be fenced areas, but for now we'll just do them as little natural areas for maybe paddocks. Maybe you might have cows, sheep, horses, or like I say, you might be doing some arable farming. Potatoes, do like a potato, and so on. Yeah, these wouldn't be very large fields at all, and like I say, there probably would be a degree of fencing going on. Something like this, and then maybe a large field at the ends there, like such. So you get the idea. So all this area here is going to be fields. I'm not going to draw them all in because that's not why we're here, but it'll give you an idea. Now, what we want to do though is our track from our initial village number 1, it's going to need to connect up. And you can see we don't really have any settlement on this side. There would become settlements on this side, but at this early stage, what we just want to do is we want to connect up so that the denizens of from one little village can get to walk to the other little village. And I'm going to just put the lines of terrain on so I can see where we're going here. So this is probably going to follow. Oh, hello, that's quite a steep old valley there, isn't there? I'm wondering whether or not, I'm thinking actually that footpath wouldn't have actually gone. Well, there'll be a second little villagey area over there at some point, so we'll just leave that extension over there, and we'll just oopsie, that's fine, it'll do. Again, we're not looking for accuracy because all of this would have been just walked by foot, trodden by foot, and then hopefully made a little bit safer for horse and carts as it turned into roads later. So yeah, ignore this extension of road here, that's not there at the moment. We may end up actually demolishing that anyway. So we have a fishing village, we have some farms going on. Do we have let's pop a couple of farmhouses down for those of you again that need it to be able to really truly visualize what is going on. So there we go, grab our little fella here. So there'll be a farmhouse over here, there'll be a farmhouse up this way, maybe a farmhouse up there, because all these little people, they're just hand tending their little areas, you know. I might draw these fields in off camera a bit later on. But yes, so all these areas, farms. We have that going on. A little fishing village. Meanwhile, we do have this area over here, which I feel would be a third area. Again, we've got fresh water going on. This might be more of a fishing and hunting area rather than the farming area, because we have got all the forests, so foraging for berries, you know, hunting the antelope and the dinosaurs and everything else that lived along the area. Again, we're going to look to see, oh, didn't mean to hit that button. We meant to hit that button and that button. Now, these riverbanks are fairly steep, so something to consider as we're going along. What I'll do though is I'm just going to build again a dirt track, because the dirt track is what would have been walked out by foot just along the riverbank here. This would, I think, all have been built along, especially as it's quite steep. It's probably less likely to be flooded, because we're a couple of meters up from the river level, so that would be excellent. Meanwhile, as I'm just going to extend that a little bit up to about, say, there. Let's say that's it, because again, this is going to be a huge community, but they're going to be mostly spread out along the waterfront. There might be one or two little dirt tracks coming in with people living in and behind the excuse me, the riverfront houses. Again, I'm just going to leave you to imagine that we have riverfront houses going on there, and there probably would have been some sort of extension up into this area up here, because it is quite wide and quite cleared there. Right, I think in terms of our third village, I think we've pretty much covered that already. But again, how would this connect with this dirt track over here? So again, we're going to need to use the Topographic lines toggle mod. There we go. And if I was making my way, I think this, but it looks really quite undulating here. Not the easiest path to follow. I found here was probably the natural path. So let's do that one, shall we? So from here around that way into the woods, and we're going to want to follow a fairly smooth route again, and roughly areas that are being cleared of trees. Again, that would just be easier for the ancestors to have followed. What's the easiest route down this hill though? What's the smoothest route? Probably this part here. This is quite steep here, so I'm thinking this might have been the early route here actually. Again, why are you dropping out? I don't really understand why that's dropping out. There we go. And that probably would have gone up that way. And in fact, this dirt path here wouldn't have been. It would have connected off in to that direction. So we now actually have the basis of our ancient city, which would have been built on 3 villages. We've got a farming village, which I'm going to zone out these fields off camera in a little while. We'll probably will do a conurbation over here at some point, the next stage of expansion, which I think we'll probably do in the next episode. And this village, of course, will be expanding at the same sort of speed. We'll look to actually build up into these hills, I would suggest would be the next point of expansion over here. But yes, I think in terms of breaking the grid, we have all of this going on. When we have got enough of the base networking laid out, which is the intention for this particular show, get some of the base networking down, and then we'll move on into the 19th and 20th century, where we do the mass expansion, which will be based around what we already have in place, and with the environment around us as well. There may be some grittiness that works into our expansion, some, but as you can see, we already are working with a much more natural city style. Anyway, that's going to do for today. Thank you very much for watching Breaking the Grid with me, BonBonB. Don't forget to hit the like button, and of course, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. It'd be great to have you along. I've been BonBonB. You've been very, very welcome, and I'll see you again very, very soon.